Hey everybody, it's Paul from One Cast One Fish, and today I'm bringing you class number 3 on the Garmin Striker Fish Finder. In today's class, we're going to be covering how to add and delete items from the home screen, adding a data graph, adding a number screen, adding the flasher, and my favorite, how to make customizable combo screen. Now if you've missed class number 1 and class number 2, that's alright. I'm going to put the links down below in the description. You're definitely going to want to check those out if you haven't already, because each of these classes build on each other to help you get a better, firmer understanding of how to use your Garmin Striker Fish Finder. Now we're going to look at how to add the data graph screen to your home screen. Starting on the home screen, we're going to scroll down and select Customize Home. Here's where you'll see that we have the option to rearrange our home screen or add to it. We're going to start out by selecting Add. Now you can see there's options available to be added to the home screen. We can create a new layout, which we'll go over a little bit later, add a data graph, add a number screen, or add the flasher. Let's start by scrolling down and selecting Data Graph. Now as you can see, the data graph will be shown on the home screen. And notice the arrows on the left hand side. It's at this point that you'll have the option to scroll up or down using the arrow keypad to place the new data graph where you'd like it on the home screen. Once you move the new data graph feature to your preferred location on the home screen, simply press enter and it'll add the data graph to the home screen. So what exactly is the data graph feature? Let's take a look. Select data graphs and you'll see a graph on your screen. We can customize this screen to our liking by pressing the menu key. This will bring up all of our menu options for the data graphs feature. You'll see we have options for changing the graphs and setting. Let's select Change Graphs. This is where you can select what parameter you wish to see on the graph. Either water depth, water temperature, or both. Let's select both. As you can see, we now have graphs for both our water depth and a graph for our water temperature. Now we're going to look at graph setting options. So press the menu key and select Depth Graph Setting. Here you're able to set your X and Y axis for your graph. In this case, the duration and scale. Selecting duration will let you set the duration axis on the graph, while selecting scale will let you adjust the scale axis. I recommend keeping the scale in auto. Now let's move to the temperature graph settings. And again, you'll be able to adjust the graph duration and scale. Selecting duration will let you set the graph duration, and selecting the scale will let you adjust the graph scale, which again, I recommend leaving in auto. A quick tip if you use the graphs feature, I recommend keeping your settings the same for both the temperature and depth graphs. For example, if you set the duration for 1 hour, you should set both the depth and temperature graph duration for 1 hour. Same for the scale, which again I recommend leaving in auto. Now we're going to be looking at how to add the numbers feature to the home screen. The numbers screen is a pretty useful feature to add. It displays a whole lot of information in an easy to read and quick to access format right from your home screen. And at the end of this segment, I'm going to walk you through how I have my personal home screen set up on my Garmin Striker Fish Finder. Starting on the home screen, select Customize Home. Scroll down to and select Add. Now scroll down and select Numbers. Now the Numbers feature will be shown on the home screen. Again, use the arrow keypad to move the Numbers feature to your preferred location on the home screen, and then press Enter to add the Numbers feature to your home screen. Now we'll take a look inside the Numbers feature. As you can see, the Numbers feature is exactly what the name implied. It's a screen full of useful information and numeric values, and it's highly customizable to match your needs. Pressing the menu key, we'll see that we have menu options for our numbers screen. These include Change Numbers, Change Layout, Reset Trip, Reset Odometer, and Reset Max Speed. The first thing we want to do is scroll down and select Change Layout. Now you'll see the option to select a number between 1 and 6. This is going to be how many number boxes you want available on your screen. If we select 4, we'll see that our number screen now only has 4 boxes with available information. Now let's go back and change our layout to 6, because I like to have more information available on this screen at one time. Now we have our layout selected, we'll press the menu key and select Change Numbers. This is where we'll begin customizing our number screen to suit our needs. I recommend spending some time going through all the options and features here to really find out what suits your needs best, because there's a lot of custom options available, as I'll show you. You can use the arrow keypad to scroll over any number box and press the menu key to change that parameter shown in that particular box. Let's select the first box and press the menu key. You'll see we have 6 main menus for options here: GPS, navigation, water, sailing, system, and trip. Now as a side note, these menu options are available for every box by simply scrolling over a box and pressing the menu key. Let's start by selecting GPS options, where we can select from GPS speed, GPS position, elevation, GPS heading, and GPS error for our displayed number options. Under the navigation menu, we have the option to display bearing, off course, waypoint velocity, odometer, arrival at destination, arrival at next, time to destination, time to your next turn, distance to your destination, distance to your next turn, and turns. Now if you've already watched class number 2, a lot of these should sound somewhat familiar, as many of them were discussed briefly in various navigational settings. Under the water menu, we can select and display depth or water temperature. Under the sailing menu, you can display the estimated sunrise or sunset times. Under the system menu, you can select to display the time of day, date, or device voltage. And under the trip menu, you have the option to display your max speed, moving average, moving time, stop time, total average, total time, and trip odometer. Now I'm going to show you how my number screen's set up. On my number screen, I have depth, water temperature, device voltage, GPS speed, trip odometer, and GPS position displayed. I feel that knowing the battery voltage at all times is very important. I also like the trip odometer displayed, so I can see how far I've paddled while out on the water. I display the GPS position for safety reasons, just in case of an emergency and I have to access my current GPS coordinates to get help. Now before we move on from the number screen, let me share a few more tips. First, you can reset the trip odometer by selecting Reset Trip. I do this before each outing so I know how far I travel. If you select Reset Odometer, it'll reset the overall odometer, which brings me to my next tip. Even though you may not have every parameter shown on your display screen at one time, the FISHFINDER is still tracking them in the background, and they can be made available simply by changing your displayed number settings. To show this, let's look at this example. Even though I just reset my trip odometer, the FISHFINDER is still tracking my overall traveled distance with the odometer. I know the flasher is pretty popular, so next I'm going to show you how to add the flasher to your home screen. Starting on the home screen, select Customize Home. Now scroll down and select Add. Now scroll down and select Flasher. Now the flasher will be shown on the home screen. Use the arrow keypad to move the flasher feature to your preferred location on the home screen and press Enter to add the flasher to the home screen. In some instances, you might find that you don't actually use all the screens on your home screen. In that case, you can delete the ones that you don't use. So now we're going to go into detail on how to delete items from your home screen. To delete a feature from the home screen, go to and select Customize Home. Now scroll down to and select Remove. Now you'll notice some features have an X and others have a lock icon. You can only delete features that have the X. Now, since I don't use the data graph feature, I'm going to scroll down and select Data Graph. Once you select the feature to delete, you'll get a message to verify that you do indeed want to delete this feature. In our case, we're going to select Yes, and this will delete the feature from your home screen. Now, as a tip, you can always add any feature you've deleted back to your home screen at a later time if you like. Now we're going to talk about one of my favorite features of the Garmin Striker FISHFINDER. And that's the ability to add combo screens to the home screen. Combo screens allow us to look at two different features at one time, such as our sonar and waypoint maps on the same screen. Starting on the home screen, scroll down and select Customize Home. Now scroll down to and select Add. Now select Add New Layout. Here we're going to select our first function. We can choose between traditional sonar, flasher, split frequency, or waypoint map. For this example, we're going to select traditional sonar. And after we select our first function, we'll be prompted to select our second function, which on the Striker series is going to be the waypoint maps. Now that we've selected our two functions for our combo screen, we're going to be able to adjust some of the settings and make a few changes if we want. Let's scroll down to and select Overlay Numbers. Here we have the option to turn on our overlay numbers and compass tape if we wish. Now I'm going to be 100% honest with you. You're going to be tempted to turn all these features on so you have a lot more information on your screen. But I have to remind you, we're already starting out with about a 4-inch screen on the Striker 4 and we're building a combo screen. So that 4-inch screen is already going to be cut in half. If we start adding a bunch of other information to the screen that we really don't need, in most cases our screen will get very cluttered and it's going to be harder to see and read. Since we're already cutting the screen in half, I never turn on these extra features. It's just a whole lot easier for me to go back to the main menu and select the numbers screen we talked about earlier to get the information I need. And in case you're wondering what the screen looks like with the overlay numbers and compass tape turned on, here you go. As you can see, the information provided is not really worth giving up the extra real estate on the screen that can be used for sonar or waypoint maps. Now, this is just my opinion and my preference, so feel free to experiment with the features and see what your preference might be. Now let's get back to setting up our new combo screen. Here you'll see we have the option to choose how our screen will be divided, either horizontally or vertically. For this example, we're going to select horizontal. Once we're done customizing our screens, we'll select next, and we'll be given the chance to name our new combo screen. I recommend naming your screens in a format that's easy to remember and identify for you. Next, our combo screen is going to pop up and you'll see the arrow keypad in the middle of the screen. This is where you can move the center line to adjust either how big or small each of your two screens will be. We can make our sonar screen larger or smaller by using the up and down arrows on the arrow keypad. Now for this example, we're going to split the screen at about the halfway point between the sonar and waypoint maps. And once you get your screen split dimensions that you're happy with, you press the enter button. Our combo screen now show up on the home screen, and we'll use the arrow keypad to move it into our preferred position on the home screen. Once in position, press the enter key and our new combo screen will be added to the home screen. Now let's select our new combo screen from the home screen. Now press the menu button to bring up available menu options for our combo screen. First, we're going to look at how to change the active function, which will allow you to change which screen is the active screen, either number 1 or number 2. The screen you have highlighted will determine which screen you selected to be the active screen. In this case, number 1 is highlighted and our sonar screen is going to be our active screen. Next, we have the traditional sonar menu. That gives you the option to make a wide variety of adjustments to your sonar screen. The adjustments available in the combo screen are the same as what they are in the traditional sonar screen. You'll have the ability to adjust things such as the range, gain, frequency, zoom, overlay numbers, and sonar setup. We're not going to be going into detail with each of these are, since we'll be covering each component of the sonar menu in depth in a later class. Next, we have the waypoint map, and this will have all the available adjustments just like the dedicated waypoint maps feature. Here you can select and adjust the following features: stop panning, stop navigation, restart go to, waypoints, routes, tracks, search, zoom, map setup, and overlay numbers. Again, we won't be going into each of these in detail because we'll be covering them in a later class. Now feel free to spend some time on your own searching through all these available options within the sonar menu and waypoint map menus. And remember, we'll be covering both in depth in later classes. Now let's scroll down to and select Configure Layout. Here we can change the name of our combo screen if we'd like. By selecting Split, we can change our screen between horizontal and vertical. Selecting Change Function allows us to change between different functions available on our combo screen. This is where we can change out our traditional sonar on our combo screen for other features if we wish, such as split frequency or the flasher. Looking at the option for overlay numbers, you again can add overlay numbers and a compass tape to your sonar screen. And again, like I said earlier, I normally leave these functions off to reduce clutter on the screens. But I'll take a few moments to show you what each feature is in case you want to enable them on your screens. Let's select overlay numbers to show by pressing enter. This gives us a whole group of new menu options to edit the layout, navigation, insert setup, and compass tape. By selecting edit layout, we can edit the layout. Let's take a closer look at the screen that pops up. You'll see 3 boxes at the top of the screen. These 3 boxes are considered layout 1. Now if you press the menu key to switch layouts, you'll see 3 additional boxes appear at the bottom of the screen. Now you have 6 available boxes for information, and this is considered layout 2. You can use the arrow keypad to highlight any of the 6 boxes and press enter to change the data points shown in each box. Now these options should be familiar since they're the same options that were shown on our number screen selections earlier in this class. Now let's look at our combo screen with the overlay numbers shown. As you can see, our selected information from our overlay numbers is shown at the top and bottom of our screen. Now let's select our navigational insert to auto. Now if we look at our combo screen, we now have an additional piece of information in the form of a navigational bar. Now we're going to go one step further and also select the compass tape to on. And looking at our combo screen, we can now see the compass tape at the very top of the screen. Again, you can see why I keep the overlay numbers, navigation insert, and compass tape off on all my screens. They just take up too much screen real estate in my opinion. Now, if any of these features are something you like or would want to turn on your screens, then by all means don't hesitate to turn the features on. Because if you change your mind, you can always turn them off later. Now I'm going to tell you something that you won't hear very often from me. I'm going to tell you one of the things I actually dislike about the Garmin Striker Fish Finder. And it has to do with how you change features in the combo screens, traditional sonar, or waypoint maps. I'm not a fan that if you change settings on your sonar or waypoint maps, they transfer through to every screen on the unit. Meaning, if you change the color or displayed information on your traditional sonar screen, those changes carry through even to your combo screens and vice versa. So any changes I make to the sonar, regardless of the feature and function I'm using at the time, these changes are applied to every sonar screen throughout the unit. I hope someone at Garmin watches these videos because I would love to be able to set different sonar screen setups, for combo screens at least. It would be nice to be able to set up a screen with the fish icon, a separate combo screen that might be in black and white sonar, and another sonar screen maybe in standard colored sonar. But currently this isn't possible because any changes I make to the sonar screens or the waypoint maps carries through to all the screens throughout the unit. Alright, that's a wrap for class number 3, and remember, if you have any questions, be sure to reach out in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like and share with all your friends, and we'll see you next time on the water.